It's a podcast. 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 I'm waiting for the harmonies to build. It's a podcast. It's a podcast. It's a podcast.
Someone's going to loop this and put it on YouTube for 9 hours.
Chelsea can do like a higher octave. It's a podcast. It's a podcast. There you go. It's a podcast. It's a podcast. It's a podcast. We're just doing octaves. It's a podcast. It's a podcast from Steam Power to Life. It's the Bennettarium. We got David, Bunny, and Chelsea, but no chips on the Bennettarium. Sorry. Oh boy, it's a Bennettarium. Yeah.
I didn't know where to come in on that.
It's alright.
Anyways, it's been a while since we've had Bunny on the podcast.
This looks like a new studio that you got here. A recording booth here.
I moved.
Oh yeah, I helped you move.
Hello. Oh, look at my beautiful light crown.
Don't make it about yourself.
That's what's the name of the lamp? Have people deemed it a name yet?
There's
No.
fan art of
They don't
it.
get to pick it. We get to pick it.
It's not lampy because that's for a little toaster. But anyways, we shouldn't talk about things that
I don't want to.
non-subscribers to Patreon can't see.
Now we kind of have to, because then people are going to be like, what are they talking about? So basically, we had a live stream earlier this month after I moved for our Patreons, which is a rehearsal live stream where the band gets together and goes over some songs and harmonies and stuff, and we live stream it to Patreons. And since I moved, my lamp is in a different position, and the only way to put it in the room is right behind us, and it's not great. Like if you can see the video, if you're a Patreon or whatever, patron, you can see the video of this podcast, and it's
Chelsea looks like she has wings.
yeah, angel wings or something. It's just, it's not a great look to have like lighting.
Fun
but
facts.
I don't know where to put it. We tried figuring it out, and we're like, there's nowhere in this room to
Whatever.
put a light.
It's endendeering now. It's its own character.
We have other lights. There's lights up there, and there's lights next to the camera.
Probably introduce
So if we
ourselves.
turn those off, then we would just have a light behind us.
Yeah.
Okay.
This news break. Extras. Read all about it. Steam Power Draft News. All right. Welcome. I don't have any papers to like.
Do we have to like introduce ourselves? It's been a while since we had a podcast.
Hi, I'm Isabella Bunny Bennett, and I play Rabbit, the robot on Steam Power Draft. I also play Gigi, the giraffe. I also play Snorgen, the old fisherman down by the crab shack.
Oh, hi. I'm Chelsea Penyak, and I'm one of the Walter workers in Steam Powered Giraffe.
Hi, I'm David Michael Bent, and I play the Spine on Steam Powered Giraffe.
So Steam Power Draft News.
In Steam Powered Giraffe.
Weather for the Steam Power Giraffe. Stormy skies ahead.
Stormy skies just for the band.
Just for the bands.
Not for the rest of the world.
No. I'm thinking we're gonna need some more like trouble. So in our VH1 Behind the Music special will be we need more drama.
Drama.
Illegal drugs.
Anyone want to try some drugs?
No.
I don't really want to.
No, I'm okay.
Chelsea? No?
I'm good.
All right. Well, scandals. We need some scandals. Maybe we can create one for Brian or something.
He's not here. He can't defend himself.
That's true. He would be the ideal candidate right now.
You know what they say? All publicity is good publicity.
I don't know. Sometimes.
We're the only ones here
have
because everyone else
have
is
you
working.
seen the news today? I don't know.
I don't think we need
I
it
don't
anymore.
know.
No, not all publicity is good publicity.
So I moved. That was a thing that happened.
That's not Steam Power Draft News.
It
I
is.
did too.
It has. It
moved
relates.
too.
It relates to the to the lamp.
Which still needs a name.
This is
Doesn't know?
This is the first
doesn't need a name.
podcast in the new apartment.
It's just a lamp. I don't want to personify the lamp. I don't want to get too attached to it.
Okay.
We might replace it because it's just.
Oh,
I don't know where else.
no.
Where else we're gonna? We need a lamp that like doesn't
Poor lamp.
do what it does.
Sorry, I'm not helping.
I don't certify.
Okay, well, the votes. We'll have to make a poll to see how we
What?
name the lamp
No,
on the official SPG.
it's my lamp. I'm gonna throw it away, just to spite everyone.
I'll just bring it back inside. I'll stay outside by the dumpster and.
Oh, we got a nice little metal giraffe sculpture out there too, courtesy
Really?
of me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was my grandmother's, and it's been sitting in my room at my parents' house for a while, and I brought it over to the new place because we had lots of room outside.
It's an omen or something.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Anyway, yeah.
We have a hot new product on the market right now. It's called the Steam Power Draft 2-cent show vinyl. It's a 2 vinyl set. They're made of gold.
Oh,
not real gold.
They're not really made of gold.
They're golden. It's gonna have a nice. I think it'll flop out, or there'll be like some imagery on it and all the classic stuff that you.
It opens twice. Do we already talk about the vinyl?
You just gotta
Last
drill
time?
it home.
Can't remember.
Drill it home.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't think we had announced it yet.
It feels like even though the podcast is pretty much
It's
a
been
month
a long
apart.
month.
This has been a long month for us
It has.
because of the moving.
Yeah.
But
No, I think that's new news.
you should pre-order it. We don't have an ETA on production and arrival, but
By the end of the year.
the more you order and the faster we sell them, the faster we'll be able to put it into production.
Yeah, because right now we're like, oh, we're not really sure how many to order because we're basing it off of pre-orders. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
we know that people don't like exactly spend a lot of money in the first couple months of the year,
especially
so.
once April rolls
Yeah.
around, then it's like tax.
But
Yeah.
I mean, you guys wanted it so bad. We were like, okay. I mean, our hands are tied. We gotta.
well, we'll do it anyways. We just have to, we don't know how many we're ordering right now.
yeah, maybe 2.
Because with vinyls, like it's just not something that we can store for a whole year. I mean, you can see these boxes behind us. We got a lot of CDs.
So we're all out of the SteamWorld Heist. Those sold out,
Yeah, but those took us a while too. Like,
and that's kind of a limited run thing. We're probably not going to do that again.
yeah, I mean, if we get bigger, sure, but like right now, like they're expensive and you can see the cost. We
Yeah.
pass the costs on to you.
But if you really want one, please pre-order. Don't wait, because we actually do need the manufacturing costs. We're a small company.
and yeah, we're not gonna do like Kickstarters and stuff like that because
No.
it's just if we want to just get it to the people who want them.
And your Patreon support does go a long way to help that, but it also helps fund other things. So, yeah, that's our new product. We're hoping that will be the hot new Christmas item next year. And
I mean, this year.
this year,
Yeah.
Christmas 2019.
Christmas 2019. Oh, there's fan art for the lamp.
I told you.
I like
I like
it.
this
I
one
hate
with the
it.
bow tie.
Why do you hate it? Our fans are so creative.
I'm just saying, it's my lamp.
Because he doesn't want to get attached.
How can you not? He has a singular eye, and he's just amazing.
Anyway.
He's like General Grievous too. He has like multiple arms.
Wow, there's a lot of questions.
Do we have to? I think this whole podcast episode has to be questions because our Patreon patrons at the $10 plus tier get to ask us, submit their questions on a Discord channel.
That's
and,
cool.
Yeah.
and we have a lot of Discord channels for different Patreon tiers, but this one we got a lot. We got a lot of questions this month.
Did we talk about that? We did talk about Echo Engine postmortem, right? You did that
Well,
last time.
We did, but you weren't here,
Yeah.
so
Do you have anything to add?
if you
it
wanted
just
to talk about it.
it was cool.
Yeah.
Transform got proper treatment finally. I heard a lot of people cried.
Yeah.
Um,
Both of the new
You heard
songs were
them.
great.
yeah,
In
I
the
heard them
audience.
just like no, but my boyfriend said he cried, and I'm like, oh. So that, it was cool to finally get that out there, and we're continuing to write new songs and work on stuff.
And we're detailing those 2 new songs that have premiered at the Echo Engine, Ollie and the Equinox Band, and Transform on our Patreon site. And we'll continue to do so as we move forward because obviously we're going to come out with an album one of these days. But if
you want
mum's the word.
I mean, if you want to get a sneak peek for Ollie and Transform, definitely just sign up for Patreon. We have concept art and behind the scenes, like the inceptions of them.
And even we performed them acoustically on some of the past few live streams.
Yeah, so catch our at the tier for the live streams. We actually will we stream rehearsals, and you never know, you get some new songs, you get some old favorites. Maybe we'll take requests.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. One of these months we'll have like, well, they've heard the new songs. We should we can like take a poll or something. I think Patreon patrons. We ask at the end of every month, but we don't get too many new ideas. Just maybe some chord sheets. Some people request like, oh, I want to know how to play this song because we don't
Sure.
have we pretty much only put up the ones that people like have requested over the years.
Patreon seems to be like the big thing right now that we've been putting a lot of effort into, and I think it's definitely good for the bands, hopefully good for the fans. So thank you for your support.
So we have an upcoming show in the summer. It's Anime Midwest.
I mean, a lot of shows just book us like 3 or 2 months in advance, and so like,
Well, if you're looking for Steam Powered Draft to come to your area, we do have we have some stuff on the pipeline, but we have nothing to announce. So
Yeah.
right now, Anime Midwest is the only one that we can for sure say yes, we're doing that. And it's usually like this in the beginning of the year for us.
Yeah, that'll be the first weekend of July in Chicago. Rosemont, technically.
It's a long way away.
5 months. It'll go by like that. You watch.
but if you can't get enough Steam Powered Giraffe, too bad. I guess.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
you can listen to our albums again and again.
Well, we're obviously working towards the next stuff, so
Yeah, we're always busy.
we're busy, but that doesn't always translate to the public.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So that's we could talk about. I got sent this little video that David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake, doing some meme or something online, just like a Twitter thing, like in Solid Snake's voice. There's a video game, if you don't know what I'm talking about. Anywho, so he did that. It was kind of funny, like, he did the thing that they came up with, like, because I don't know if you remember. This is gonna go somewhere. I'm just gonna ramble on for a bit though. Like when Super Smash Bros. Ultimate came out, it included Solid Snake in there, but like Nintendo like toned down his butt, and people were like, you know, I don't know about complaining, but they were joking like, look how thick it is over here, and you know, it's like,
Oh yeah, I've seen some of those memes.
yeah. So anyways, so it was he did some voice thing for that, and then that led me to an article about it, and then it was like, oh, David Hayter, who's also on Cameo, where you can request him to do personal messages, did this, and then he got so many requests that he decided to make this video on TikTok, and oh, okay, so then we're like, oh, Cameo, so I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, it's for like celebrities that fans can like request them to do personal messages for like a few bucks or something, and then I looked into it, and I'm like, oh, you need like a bunch of Instagram followers, but I typed out like a request to become a talent on there, and because I like mentioned Steam Powered Draft and stuff, they looked up our stuff and they're like, oh, okay, sure. And now that I got in, so then I invited the rest of the band, and Bunny signed up too, and now we've done some personal messages for some people.
It's been fun. People seem to like it.
We do that sort of thing like during autographs after shows and stuff for free all the time.
It never really occurred to be like, oh, we could offer that to people who can't make it to our shows.
Yeah, because I mean, we're at a show and we're like,
Or sometimes you don't have enough time.
Yeah,
to
we
do
don't have enough time.
it. So you can find us on cameo.com by looking us up. There's links on our personal Twitters.
I'll put it up on the Steam Powered Draft store and our website eventually, so that way when people are looking like, oh, a good gift to buy, like a Steam Powered Draft fan, we always get requests like that, but we don't have a good way to do it. Like, you know, they want the band or all three robots saying something. Well, we're not always in makeup.
Yeah.
We're not always together.
If we are at an event where we're in makeup and stuff, we will probably just like up the price, and then like we could do like
you mean like if we were
requests, or if we're already in makeup and
Sure,
stuff at
yeah.
a show, like we could turn Cameo on for the people that know that we're touring, and like,
so if you wanted the Spiner Rabbit, you could go to our
Yeah.
individual profiles. And
that'd
do
be
that.
fun.
But if
Yeah.
we're already at an event and we're in makeup and we're in an autograph line and there's like enough time as a quick video, we'll usually do that for people.
Yeah.
Unless like the event's like really pressuring us to get the line moving or something. But like if you're really quick and stuff, like we're more than happy to do that for no charge. It's just, you know, if you want it, like it's an easy. They give us like 6 days to make the video requests, and so far it's been positively received.
Yeah, done a lot of cute ones. some
People have
touching
asked
messages.
for both of us at the same time, and there's just no logistical way to do that.
We'd have to make a Steam Powered Giraffe
Good
account.
logistical.
but-
And it would just be we'd have
Like,
to plan.
You have 7 days to fulfill them. So
But here's the
you
problem
all
with
would
that
have to get together.
Is we already have to get the band together for rehearsals,
Yeah,
album work, songwriting, Patreon stuff. This would be another
It's
thing on top
just-
of that, and it's
it's-
just
yeah.
at a certain point where we are.
What's nice
we're
is
not
that
doing the
stressor.
band.
I
right?
can do. We can do it on our way to rehearsal or when we get up in the morning. Or
But if the minute we have to do like, and then we can't pick options too. We can't be like, oh, I want Bunny and David, or I just want 3 robots, or I want Mike and da da da. Like any combination would be, it would just be.
yeah,
There's no like system in place on their end to do that. So I've gotten a few requests, and they said, oh, what if I send an email and then I do a Cameo for you, and and then you guys can get together. I'm like, that's too much work for
Yeah.
the $10 or $15 we're charging for it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
if we are together at an event, we'll figure it out on maybe we can do something. But yeah,
But I think it's more like, so far it's been like I add makeup, I put on a fedora so they kind of know who I am, and I say the birthday messages. You know, they're usually 30 seconds to 2 or 3 minutes
it's
long.
fun. That's something I wanted to talk about, but I can't. Oh, my brain.
Well, I guess we can start pulling up those questions.
Oh, sure. Oh,
Sure.
You know how on podcasts they sometimes
They're entertaining. Yeah, I wish we could do that. I wish we could be.
well, like they do like a sponsorship type thing where they have like referral codes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I figured out how to do that on
But-
my own, and I'm like, and they sent me some products. And I'm like, okay,
Really?
yeah, I did MeUndies and
Okay.
Oh,
Quip the
wow.
toothpaste, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll test this out on my own podcast.
Do
and
we
stuff.
want? I mean, we
I don't know.
We could, but like we're already getting like the.
It's true.
But at the same
I'm
time,
just saying, I don't
people
know.
who subscribe to like, well, here's the thing that I've seen people do is they cut out those advertisement parts for the paid subscribers, and they have two different
Interesting, okay.
RSS things. And in my mind, I'm like, well, that's a lot more work for me to do.
Yeah.
At the end of every podcast to make two different versions of it.
Yeah.
And like, because you don't want people
if you just want
to have to listen to the ads.
Also,
if
when
you're
I'm listening to
paying.
podcasts, I always like skip the ads
Yeah.
and try and do the whole.
Well, hopefully for Steam Powered Draft, we can just say, hey, go to our Patreon,
There
do
you
that.
go.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyways, I was just thinking like just the idea of like Spine selling underwear or something.
I
It's
mean,
kinda
it'd be
funny.
fine if we had like a team of people doing this.
Hi,
but-
I'm the Spine, and when I poop my pants,
Yeah.
I need to get
No,
some-
it'd be funny. It'd be.
Anyways, I don't know. Never
and
mind.
to be fair,
We could
like
do
I
that.
have done podcasts. I like did that. I did like those Omaha Steaks gifts for parents or something. Like get a good deal on those. It was pretty
Yeah.
good. Like from a podcast, and I have used MeUndies, but I didn't use like a referral code.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like,
yeah.
but so you know,
I just got them. I'm excited. I hope they're
We-
comfortable.
yeah.
But-
Oh, they are.
But to be
You haven't
fair,
gotten them yet?
it's-
Oh yeah, I got them. They're my
the,
purse.
the main
Oh,
issue
yeah.
is like every additional
I have
thing
MeUndies.
to add on to things. I just feel like I spend more and more time doing
Yeah,
things
yeah.
that anyone could do than Steam Powered Draft stuff. So I'm just doing so much busy work these days that I'm always trying to find ways to not do that. Because if we had
Understandable.
the money, we could just hire someone to do it all. But like
Sure.
we already have Camille and Chelsea doing as much as they can. But there's so little interesting, things for the
Intricacy
podcast that
things.
we don't have someone doing the podcast.
Yeah,
like after
there-
here, I have to spend like an hour or two like
I
putting
can't.
it
There's
all up.
nothing I can do to help you with the post stuff.
And to be fair,
but-
it's not enough work to hire anyone to do. It's
Yeah.
just
'Cause it's like once a month.
Collectively, there's a lot of little things that I have to do
Mhm.
every month, and that's hard to like. I could only deviate it.
David works hard, so like a sponsorship with underwear or toothbrushes or whatever,
Well,
or time saving
Yeah,
stuff.
sure.
Then you can make a couple bucks for
but
your
I-
efforts.
I'd have to put more. We're already putting in. We have our hands in a lot of
Sure,
things.
I was just
Yeah.
a thought. Just
But I think Cameo's a good one because I don't even
Yeah,
stream that
totally.
often. But
anyway, questions. Yeah.
do you have a long
Oh
list?
yeah, I
Chelsea?
got a long list.
So these come from
I'll
our-
start from the top.
Our Patreon patrons over on our Discord, they get access to a special channel.
You get to ask all the hot new questions.
Well, the $10
What
plus
about the
people.
engineer
Yeah.
tiers? Do they get to answer questions anymore?
They can in
they
the
can.
chat,
They
but
can
I
in the
might miss
chat.
them.
Oh, okay.
'cause
We never really did that, did we?
If you're on
No,
the
because then we
yeah.
just end up like answering questions
for the
forever.
engineer tiers listening who are in the chat room because there's not too many of them.
I don't think we'll do that today because it deviates from the Patreon $10.
Okay,
people.
fair enough.
Well,
fair
no,
enough.
I was just gonna say if you're in the $10 Discord, you can ask a question.
Oh yeah, you can do it on our Discord.
Yeah, I'm just letting them know.
Because we kind of like we had to like find
Don't-
tiers and
yeah.
benefits for people, and engineer tiers are like $2 to $3 a month if you
Right.
divide
Fair
it
enough,
up.
fair
I was just
So,
saying,
like,
don't
That
post them
makes
in the
sense.
engineer chat.
Well,
Go
apparently
post them in the Discord.
Apparently, we have a lot of questions, so
Yeah, we could spend the whole podcast.
Well, we're going
answering
to,
questions.
probably.
Yeah. Let's do the first one. Proto Jones asks.
I'm really thirsty, and now I don't have
Okay.
any water. I guess I'm gonna get some sink
hey,
water.
can you give me another Gatorade?
Are you serious?
Yeah. No, why would I be joking about something like that?
All right. Here's the first question. Proto Jones asks, which album are you
Don't
most
care.
proud of in terms of how it came out, mastering, content,
That,
etc.?
that wasn't for the question. That was in response to something David said that no one heard.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, don't care about your question. What was the question?
Okay.
I wasn't listening.
Which album are you most proud of in terms of how it came out, mastering, content, etc.?
Gosh, for me, it's always like you always wish you could do better. I've listened to our albums a lot, and like they all have good things about them. But in terms of like mastering and stuff, I don't know. Like I feel MK3 was pretty solid for what it was.
I got lots to talk about there, but I'm not over there.
Yeah, my choice would be like MK3 just in terms of how it sounds.
Yeah, it could be anything. They said mastering or content. Whatever you're most proud of, I guess.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, 2 Cent Show had a great theme, and that was kind of nice that it all kind of fit together just because we were playing. We had just made a lot of old-timey sounds.
Did they talk about mastering or no? You were just talking.
No, they did ask.
said what album are you most proud of in terms of how it came out? That could be anything, mastering, content, etc.
I mean, I think the later albums are the ones that sound correct in my mind as far as like mastering goes, because MK3 it was pushing its loudness way too much.
It's fair enough. Did we remaster any of those or no?
Remaster?
Yeah, with the new settings.
No.
We never went back and like changed anything.
Wait, is it Mark III or MK3? I've never known.
It could be
It's Mark III, but it's MK3 is fine. But
I have always
we never went back and changed any of those things.
Well, whatever we publish it at, none of the albums change. After
Yeah, technically, because I think we for
unless we're talking about album 1 where we re-released it.
We actually like posted something a couple years ago about how we could remaster them, but we never did that. We just showed a preview.
There's no point. They're close enough.
Yeah, but you can like we could go back and like make them sound better. But I think kind of the.
There's no point.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like 10 years and we're not the
so technically, I think the the best one would be Quintessential in terms of like mastering quality.
Yeah, I'm not. Now, as far as like instrumentals and stuff, like they all, stuff with Mike is, sounds more intricate and stuff. But as far as mastering and technically how it was like put together and like those ones are getting closer to what if we actually hired a master. Well, you know what we've hired people studios to do like mastering for like the vinyl and stuff because we wanted to make sure that it sounded okay. But when I listen to those tracks, I'm like, oh, they didn't really do much. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we give someone a bunch of raw tracks and have them. Damn phones. They're all just going off.
Yeah. I really didn't. Content wise, I don't really have a favorite because I just don't see my songs like that or anyone else's songs.
Yeah,
just like each one is special and
they're a snapshot of what we were doing at the time.
Yeah,
and I'm never really happy with anything.
I mean, I could say my least favorite is probably Quintessential, but that's just I don't know. Like I don't know. Personally, I think it's the weakest album, but
yeah,
not that it's not.
It has a lot of good songs on it. But I don't know. Maybe we're biased because I felt the disconnect of the band members.
It could have been at the time, because making it was okay, but it just wasn't. It's where we were kind of like, okay, we need to change our creative process. Not necessarily like it's not that the stuff isn't good. It's just how we approach the working environment.
I'm not sure if we've talked about this before. I think we have, maybe. If not, I might have done an article or something up on our Patreon.
We've actually talked positively about how. Since then, the changes we've been making. Yeah. So I mean, that's good.
But they weren't asking about negative stuff.
No, but
basically, we kind of see where we need to make improvements. So now when we look back, we're like, oh yeah, that wasn't a great way to do that. Yeah. But that's just how you get in a. Quintessential was off of SteamWorld Heist and Battleborn and stuff like that, where we had a very systematic approach, and Sam and I basically worked separately on stuff, and then we worked together on Bunny's stuff, and then I took after a certain point then it was just me trying to make it all sound cohesive, and it didn't feel as connective as even SteamWorld Heist and stuff like that.
I mean, in Vice Quadrant, I know that one's could have used more polish, but it was good. I mean, it's just the content and the theme, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, for what it is, if we did it, if we did something like that again, now we have the tools to do something of that caliber. But whatever, I don't look at it like, oh, it's terrible. Well, you get the idea. Well,
we can definitely self-critique but I like all the albums.
But some people say Vice Quadrant's the only one I like, and I'm like, okay, well,
some people are like 2 Cent Show's the only one I like.
So I mean. Overall, you can say 2 Cent Show because of Honeybee, but that's what I mean.
I think people see it as even though Quintessential is that 2 Cent Show is the quintessential album because because it has a lot of the stuff that made us electricity.
Sure, but that's
electricity. No, it has AAH.
To be
Fair,
fair,
and a few others that just kind of like marked our popularity.
I think
like,
if people looked back, they probably would say, unless you're a super fan, they'd probably say, oh yeah, 2 Cent Show, it's got all my favorite songs, Brass Goggles and Electricity and AH, and I'm like, well, those songs aren't on the album, but
exactly.
it's just because that's it. It's
that
Honeybee and
era,
stuff,
yeah, like that initial offering that we had, because album 1, like we had that initial offering, then but we were playing a lot of the 2 Cent shows live, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's
before
just
that.
how it happens when you go from not having a fan base to having a fan base. Like people, those videos are always going to have more views than anything. And of course, Honeybee, even though that video got much traction, but it didn't get much traction until like, I don't know, a year or two after we released it. So it's not like it's been an instant hit or something. And and when we played it live, it wasn't like we liked all our songs. So but we're like feeding to a very small audience at Balboa Park, like 50 people or something that would regularly come and see us. So, it was more based around what the band liked, because we didn't really have a gauge. But at the same time, I guess that's how it is now, because we don't want to just make Honeybee over and over again either. But we will, I guess. Sometimes you never know.
All right. Next question.
What was did any of our ramblings like answer the actual question?
Yeah.
No, we did.
So we basically said we don't really have a favorite.
Yeah.
No, just that Quintessential is probably the most technically superior.
Yeah.
But nostalgia and
Yeah,
some of the
I think
fan favorites.
Fans go off of nostalgia a lot, so I think they are more prone to have a favorite album than the person creating it, because like you said, you're at a different point in your life every single time you create an album, and they're all unique in their own ways.
Yeah.
It's not like you have a favorite nostalgically like fans do.
Sometimes we have memories and stuff like
Yeah.
that might be good or bad, but like I don't know, that kind of colors are.
As far as like songwriting goes, I think all this, we haven't written any crappy songs. I mean, we can say, past members, I have some songs I don't really care for, but as far as like ones that Bunny and I have written, like they're all good. They might not have all come out the way we imagined them on an album or something.
I have a question. Do we have? This is my own question. Do we have any songs that we regret? I have one, and it's even though I really like the song, I just wish. I think Over the Moon just never got to the point where
Over the Moon.
Like I spent a lot of time writing that one, but
I'm trying to remember the melody.
It just never. Da, 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 na, 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 na. It just feels like it kind of got lost in the album, and I'm like, I really like that song, and I really
I like
wish.
it too.
There's a lot of I liked everything we
Over
added
That's
to
why
it.
Vice Quadrant is my personal favorite album.
But that's
because there's so much on it.
I think it
and
got
they're all
lost.
really good.
I think it got lost in the album because you have this album that has a lot of synthesizers and stuff, and that one's just a very normal Steam Power Draft song.
Yeah,
in the
I'd love to
sense
see
that
that one live.
I'd like to see even just like a re-recording, because just with our knowledge now and the time and everything. But that's my only regret, which is not a big regret.
That's a lot of songs too. I mean, like we could,
just Over the Moon. Let's just bring that out.
because you said that about Mecto Moore in the podcast before as well.
Yeah, Mecto Moore. I don't know, like it's.
But that's how I feel about all of my songs. Like if we could redo them again, I'm like, yeah, of course, I know exactly what I want to add to them.
Yeah,
because I feel like. You feel like not that they're unfinished. Like some of them, I never feel like we get that point, but we get to the point where like, wouldn't it be great to have this? And maybe that comes from because we've been performing them live and we've come up with parts that actually and ways to play the song that just sound cooler. And I think Brass Goggles is a big example of that, because we made an album based off of how we performed in Balboa Park, and Brass Goggles we didn't really perform that often, so it really came into its own during the live.
It actually wasn't the favorite. When we were doing like interviews for our first album, even though that doesn't mean much, there were a lot of people did say like Brass Goggles seems like the weakest track, and it kind of was, just because. Well, I mean, it wasn't a bad song. It's just that
it's funny.
But then we liked it, and then we played it live, and that's when it just kind of evolved, and you'll see that with a lot of our songs too, and that's why sometimes we do play songs live before we put them on albums. We don't do that with every song, because then of course the album comes out and we're like, I've heard this one, but
well, deviation. So no regrets, I guess. I don't really have regrets. I guess it's just there's things I wish I could change and stuff, but nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I could say any critique I would have on like past members' songs. I also have critiques on my own songs too, but
Anyway, sorry to deviate.
We could talk about album stuff.
Wait, it's our podcast. We can talk
You
about
can
whatever
talk
we
about
want.
But fine. One final thing on that is like like I feel like Quintessential, like Tacky Boom Boom, that whole thing, Leopold Expeditus, like it's too repetitious.
Repetitive. Repetitive.
It's too repetitive for my taste. Like there's no build, and
Mexo More is kind of the same. Well, it has a moment in the same, but yeah. Some of the repetition for some of the older songs are not. Yeah.
But you could say the same with Love World of Love.
Fair enough. I don't know.
That one's a lot. That one's not a 6-minute long song, so that's why I feel like it gets away with it.
But I also feel like Quintessential was kind of like Sam's finality too. Like
Sure,
so,
yeah.
like his ideas were big and he had a lot of good stuff on the album. Just
Yeah.
so like his he really wanted to do that hero that he had said he had created
yeah.
like years ago.
That's
so.
his Hatchworth's only hero, right? Hero
like he
song?
wanted to do it for a long time, and he set out and he did it. So
I mean,
Yeah.
unless you count Space Giant or
Oh, I love that song.
Wink the Space Probe.
I mean, yeah, nothing against any of Sam's songs. My personal favorite Sam album is Vice Quadrant. I thought all of his songs on there were really great.
yeah,
Yeah, the concept. It was so easy to write stuff
So many good
for
ones.
that.
Where I Left You.
compared
Yeah.
to
Steam
like
Junk was great.
Quintessential, where it was just songs we wanted to.
man, Vice
Yeah.
Quadrant is a
album.
great album. There's so many
It
good
is.
songs on it. It's
Like, I've put it on just to listen to it.
But
like
with that one, I
love story.
I wish we had
albums.
more time to
Sure.
flesh a
Flesh
lot of
it
them
out.
out.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, I mean, it got into that place where it was like, well, we have a due date, and like Sam can work on all his songs.
we were
all he wants.
stressed out about it, but we
And-
got it done.
And
So
and just for me, like I have to touch every song, because the stuff that Sam would send me would be instrument parts and stuff like that to throw into his songs or something. But like, well, he didn't contribute anything to the other songs except for a few of Bunny's. So it was like, so I had all my songs, and I was like, I just have to do everything on them, other than the harmonies to get from you guys. So it kind of felt weird. Like, shouldn't we have some electric guitar? in my songs
Vice
too?
Quadrant and Quintessential do suffer from. It was just where we were at with the band. Not that it was all negative, but it was just we knew since then we've had to change the way we work because it creates better content when everyone is contributing.
Yeah, because I felt like it was getting to the point with Sam, not that it was a bad way to do it, but that it was like it was 3 different artists. I mean, I feel like we came together for your songs.
A little more, but
for
even
whatever reason,
even then, it wasn't like always the 3 of us. Where,
Yeah.
where it is now, where
it would be me and
every
you.
song
Yeah.
like we're changing and like transforms like 4 key change. Like that wasn't me. Like it wouldn't be what it is today without all of us like working together.
So, and I feel that came out of convenience for everyone in the group, rather than
to get it done with a due date, like, but it's kind of interesting in that way because it's almost like we each had we had 3 different concepts that we're trying to merge together.
yeah. So we
3
came
different voices,
together for
so-
some stuff, but it was like the stuff that was like, oh yeah, there was a lot of like, come and record harmonies. You'll record all these, and it was kind of like you didn't know what you were recording.
Yeah.
there was a disconnect. You're like,
Would you
you're just going off of a track, and
Yeah.
you're like, I've never heard this song before. What am I? Sometimes it was like that because we had a schedule and we're like putting it down and like.
I was going to say, would you say that Quintessential was, I don't want to say suffered from, but do you think Quintessential was like a byproduct of the Image and Form, Battleborn?
Yeah, for sure. But
that crunch time stress.
You could see it in Vice Quadrant too, because
Yeah.
it kind of overlapped.
But,
So I feel like
yeah.
it just turned into that because it was convenient.
Because SteamWorld Heist, they contacted you about SteamWorld Heist while you were recording Vice Quadrant, right? And you had
A
a
little bit
deadline for
before,
Vice
yeah.
Quadrant, and then suddenly you had to do that one too.
But I think, however it happened, we know
Yeah.
we obviously we don't do it that way anymore. It's and it's not like we went on years like that. It was just you have to get the project done, and then in hindsight, you're like, yeah, well, Sam's songs all have this electric guitar that's very prominent in Vice Quadrant, and then you go to my stuff, and it's all just it's whatever I could.
Yeah.
And I feel like my songs suffered a little bit more from not being able to have the input from everyone else, and that was just because we had so many songs and a due date, and some of them were okay. I feel like, and if you keep going back further in time, you can see that like we did all come together on like for SteamWorld Heist, like there's a lot of like Sam guitar in my songs and stuff, but Vice Quadrant in Quintessential,
It was
it was so separate.
Yeah,
separated
MK3
out.
had a little bit more cohesion, but it still that one also had its share of troubles towards the end, just getting it finished. But we figured it out. Like
Yeah.
it was just new ways to work, and
And you know what? And with that said, even though it sounds like and then Sam left, and then we went back to the other thing, we actually were already talking with Sam, and all of us agreed like, yeah, this would be better if we we work these songs together. So we kind of found out about it as it was happening.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, now Sam's gone and now we can do it correct. It was more that we just fell into a weird way to work.
And we knew immediately bring in Brian, and we were like, we need to make this the standard.
Overhaul it.
Because before Sam was going to leave, we were already planning the next albums and stuff. So what we have now, we might be working on in the future, is still stuff that we talked about with Sam.
Yeah.
It's just now we have other people in the band, and it's kind of shaped that way.
No, and that's not why he left or anything, or why.
Yeah.
It's just working environment. It wasn't bad working environment. We're all friendly to each other. It's just got to be more constructive, more collaborative, and
and we were already working towards that before he decided I don't want to do this for another 10 years.
We have
my own
we have a lot of jam sessions now, just working on songs. Ollie was a year of work just to get where it is right now.
And because right now, basically what we're saying publicly, as well as the Patreons, though they get a little bit more juicy details, is that it's done when it's done.
Exactly, and that's the key. It's we don't have a due date, because even though financially and stuff that might make sense and stuff, we're just no. It's this one has to be
because you've never worked without a due date before.
And it is weird that we've had
freedom.
Brian in the band for 2 years, and it's almost like he doesn't exist in any of our videos because we don't have much. But we know that. We know what we have to do. We need the time to do it, and we're not.
We want it to be good,
and we're not just waiting. We're doing it. So that's all we can say is we're doing it already, and we've been doing it for that much time. So
there's our retrospective on the albums and the future.
So every question will take about 15 minutes to answer. So
we'll get through it.
We just had a lot to say when you talk.
Have we already been going on?
The next one's 45 minutes.
We're almost an hour, yeah.
One question.
I guess we haven't done. I'm out of podcast.
The next question's a doozy. Just it's gonna be long. It's gonna take me a while to read. Okay. Abby asks, so many fans have said that SBG has been a beacon of hope for them and helped them through dark times in their lives. There is also a great deal of physical adoration towards everyone in the band. I don't know what that means. Hugs?
No, I'm gonna go with hugs.
I'm gonna go with hugs. Physical adoration.
Do you feel gratified or pressured by this? And has it shaped how you conduct yourselves online and in public?
Well, sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course.
yeah.
Even me,
If you're talking about what's the word? Affection in the term of just two human beings having a connection and not necessarily romantic or physical attraction. I'm sure fans might find us attractive, but I think they were asking more about, just the weight of people appreciaing you and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you definitely. I mean, we've been doing it for a little more than 10 years now. But when we started, we knew we needed to be friendly because we were out in public and stuff, and people would keep coming up to us, and we were always friendly with them. So that just kind of started there, and just carried with us as we grew to bigger venues and events. So I think that kind of helped us because we were able to kind of see, because it's customer service basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
In a way, if you're interacting with people, especially when you're performing, you do put on a facade of some sort to be to make sure that the people that you're talking to feel are at ease, that it's easy to talk to you.
And sometimes we get a little casual here and there, and sometimes we might misjudge how casual we are because we like laughing and we like joking with our fans.
Yeah.
But overall, I think we try to be just grateful and
I mean, there's always going to
our
be
best behavior.
There's always going to be the edge cases or fringe cases or whatever you call them. Just because there's so many people we've interacted with over 10 years.
Exactly.
We've gotten maybe one or two emails.
You get you'll upset fans every once in a while because a line got cut off or something, or you just didn't respond in a way that jived with them. But there's only so much we could do.
Because after a while, we're not even perfect.
We go out there interacting with our fans. We're there to give them a good experience. You paid all this money to come out to this con or show. This is all about you.
And it's sometimes there'll be there'll always be. I always use the example. I don't know when we talked about this before, but someone will be oh, this this person was having a bad day, and you could see because they wouldn't and then from our point of view, it's well, maybe in that instance because you talked to them, but what about all the other people they interacted with that rest of that day? It's just unfortunate sometimes. And I think most people, if they've seen us a few times, they can see well, we're pretty consistently in a good mood, but I don't know, like if there happened to be a one time when someone
most people like understand
really need to go to the bathroom or you're hungry.
The the weight, I guess, is the word I'm using a lot, but like where that comes in terms of the affection is like it's not like stressful or like anything. It's part of the job, and like you just be respectful to your fans, and like who they like your music, and my favorite part of the shows is meeting fans after the show. I mean, I love performing, but I also love seeing how it's affecting real people, because online, like, it's not, you can't always tell just by likes and stuff.
Yeah, you get numb to stuff online because you see similar comments. I don't know. I mean, it's the difference between seeing someone in person who's like excited to meet you and shake your hand compared to a heart that pops up on
who stood in a line
Twitter
for like 2 hours sometimes. It's
so
like,
you see people when you get to stare people in the face and eyes, then it's sobering.
But like, I think it's kind of easy in our job because entertainers love an audience, and even after shows or meeting you guys, it's like we don't mind, but we have to be smart about like because on stage it's a little different. But when we're not the characters and we're just trying to be, I don't know, kind as ourselves, there is like a cap on how much energy or spoons we have, as some people say.
Especially somewhere at a convention or a venue with a curfew where,
the
we're not
that
in the position to be the bad guy, and it gets really stressful, like near the end of the night when, organizers are telling you to wrap up, but you don't want to be that bad guy to the fan. And
because eventually it's not like we've done it before where we had to stand up and say, hey, we're sorry, but we got to go. We have a plane to catch in the morning, and we can't be here another hour. And then it's like, well, you could. And then it's always like, well, what about one more person? And that's why we never try to do that.
I'm not saying it's everyone. Everyone is so amazing and understanding. Like, our fans are so great. But there's always, like you said, the fringe cases of people who will take it personally when we say we have a plane to catch. Like, they don't understand why they can't be the last one.
And that's upsetting to us.
And that can domino. That can become everyone.
Well, if you want us to feel bad for the rest of our lives, like
we will
do something like that.
But
like we won't ever feel like, man, I wish we could do that. It's more like, boy, I wish we could have said the right thing so they understood.
Yeah.
Well, because I mean, obviously,
we'd love to get to do everyone, and most of the time we do, but every once in a while, but it's just that kind of stuff that every once in a while it's like, oh, that's too bad. Like, I wish they had a better experience,
Because we're still small enough that we don't just like brush that stuff off. We're like, we do feel bad about it. Like so as far as like the weight of it is more like, I don't want to disappoint anyone. I think that's what it comes from. But at the same time, after 10 years, like I remember everyone that we've disappointed that I've heard about because it gnaws at you, and then you keep that in mind for the next time. But then you're like, well, that people at the end of the line, like, I'm going to try to have the same amount of energy, but then I just had to be honest with them, like, oh, thanks for waiting in line so long. We're really tired now.
We definitely
I was going to say, like, I still think about the one person on Tumblr who said I was a bitch to them at the table. Like, one person in all these years, but like, I still think about that and wonder what I did wrong.
I still think about, I offered some Jammy Dodgers to this small fan who later just started talking crap about me on Tumblr, and I was like, but I gave you like cookies and like we talked and stuff, like why? But that's
I mean, that's a whole other side of the fandom that we don't ever get to really see. Well, we do sometimes.
We've matured in how we handle it, and sometimes the best is just like, well, I can only do so much. We're only human. Like, people should know that we're appreciative. Yeah. And I think we do a lot to.
I mean, it's got to go both ways. I mean, we have the knowledge to, like, this is how much friendliness we're going to give because there's another person that deserves just as much behind you. But if people are going to invest so much into us as people and get close to, like, they're going to be friends with us, it never. That's impossible. It never happens. It never happens. Like,
does that kind of answer the question? The way that we interpreted it?
I think so.
All right. Well, we've done 2 questions.
Okay.
We're gonna do them. We can keep going.
Right.
We can
keep going.
All right. Mitch asks, "What is your favorite movie from your childhood?"
That's a good question.
We were probably in
What
high school when it
phase of
came out, but I
childhood,
think
though?
Lord of the Rings in high school was pretty good.
I was gonna say I have like Disney movies when I was
Yeah.
really little. Like The Lion King was played to death in my household.
Totally.
Obviously, there was like an animated movie that I don't know if anyone remembers. It's called Samson and Sally, about these two whales. Does anyone
No.
ever heard of that? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look that up. I played that VHS to death.
Most of the movies that I liked as a kid, I watch now and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this isn't as good as I remember it. But that's probably.
I know I liked Beauty and the Beast a lot, and I liked Hook.
Oh yeah,
That was really
we did
great.
watch Hook a lot. I remember watching Hook a lot. With you.
Yeah. It's just the
yeah.
the quotes.
When I was a little older, like 12, 13, I'd say Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron had a big impact on
Man,
me.
that movie was going to
'Cause
be
I
so
was-
much better.
I was a horse girl, and that was I was all
did
about
you know
that
all the
movie.
horses were supposed to talk?
Yeah.
Remember, there was like even like a Clydesdale and stuff, and all these characters that just.
Wait, are you
never
saying that
happened.
would have made it better?
Yeah.
Because see, I liked it because none of the horses talked.
Boo.
I don't know. I never seen it.
It was more realistic, and I was sick of like talking
Mu-
animals.
music
and
was
I
fun,
thought it
though.
was a really unique movie, and
Was
yeah,
it
Bryan
gonna be a
Adams
musical
doing the whole.
where the horse is going to sing.
Oh my god!
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I like
I don't
that.
think. I think Bryan Adams was. Did you know they have a Netflix show or something?
Yeah,
a
I heard of
spiritual.
that.
A spiritual
Spiritual
Successor or whatever?
successor.
Yeah, I
Next
saw.
question.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
No,
No,
you
no,
can
no.
keep
It's
talking.
it's not about childhood
You saw a
movies. I
horse.
was gonna say no. I saw Bryan Adams
Oh.
play an acoustic show at the Spreckles a couple of years ago, and he played spirit songs.
They're catchy.
Anyway, favorite childhood movie, Hook.
Kind of like
Lion
Road to El
King.
Dorado too, even though I was a
Oh,
little bit older for
yeah.
that. Like,
yeah, I guess it doesn't count when you're after elementary school. I don't know.
sure,
Yeah.
it's still a nice cartoon. Like, it was just one of those last.
Iron Giant was
Yeah.
another one, but we were
Yeah.
a little older when this came out. So
Yeah, when I was really little, I'd say Samson and Sally, and a lot of the Disney movies like Lion King and Pocahontas, all those.
We like movies, so
Yeah. Okay, next question. Bridget asks, are any of the band trained in first aid? Who is the best in a crisis?
well, in high school, at least for you had to do it. I think it was junior or senior year.
CPR training.
I didn't
but
do that.
but you have to do that every 2 years.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember.
So
how to
no.
do it.
I
No, we
really
are not.
want to get certified, but like you said, you have to renew it every 2 years.
I mean, as far as choking, I think that's the easiest one. But then again, that keeps changing every year, like what
Yeah.
you should do.
I have a
so.
first aid kit in my car. I don't.
There are first aid. I have.
I'm pretty good during a crisis, I guess.
Three
well, I was
first
going to
aid
say,
kits.
luckily we don't know who's best in a crisis because we've never had a crisis
Yeah.
I've
in the
cut- we've-
band.
I think Chelsea and I have probably cut our fingers open around each other, and there's a first aid kit under this. There's a few in the house. So that's
Oh
all
yeah,
of them.
I helped you bandage up your finger. That was 2 years ago when we drove to Bakersfield. You like cut it real bad.
I don't remember. So, anyways, no, none of us.
We're-
Someone's gonna
no
die.
one,
No.
Yeah,
But also,
I
you have to
don't
be
think
around
any
the
of us
person
are
who
trained.
knows CPR and stuff like that.
yeah.
We know the basics, but it I don't know if that is enough. You know, if I'm sure that 911 saying it over the phone is going to be what we would hope for, and try not to break anyone's ribs.
Right.
But if they're dying, better broken ribs than not.
Mitch asks, when you came to the UK for the first time, what was the most bizarre thing you saw?
I don't think.
I mean,
anything
I'll
was
be honest,
bizarre.
nothing was bizarre. It's not like it was a different planet or anything.
No.
UK's pretty similar to the US.
And maybe
I mean,
we're
it's
maybe
in terms of like, it wasn't like, oh, this toilet's so weird. Like nothing, nothing was weird or out of place.
Yeah, I mean, there is like a cultural difference, like
Culturally.
slightly, but it's
Yeah, I guess.
But maybe it's because we're older and
But I wouldn't
we've seen
say bizarre.
pictures and we've seen
Yeah.
movies and
Yeah.
like so it's kind of like, oh yeah, okay, I've seen these outlets.
all I know is
Before.
that British people are a lot more honest.
Yeah,
your
like
face.
like
So I
Yeah.
was eating a lot of candy when I go to the UK, and everyone just said like, "Oh, she likes her sweet." She's like, "Oh, you're gonna get too fat," and I'm like, "Do you not understand like
I
our
noticed that
chocolate
too.
sucks in America?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna eat as much chocolate as I can because our chocolate has like preservatives in it that taste shitty."
Yeah.
And
but also like it was like so
or
many.
I'd pose and they're like, "Oh, you're trying to do the hide the fat arm thing." Like I have.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like I was like, I
I'm
can't
not
go
shocked.
anywhere without
To be
like.
fair,
But-
I noticed that too.
To be fair, I think that though that's I don't think young people are do
No,
that.
it was
Yeah.
older fans.
Yeah,
So I guess you could
we
say the
talked-
most shocking thing was cultural stuff.
Yeah, we talked to like some more country. I don't know what you call them. Like maybe some country folks. In cabs, or I had Domino's delivered, and he literally talked to me for like 45 minutes, and it was just there's just a little bit of rudeness or bluntness that some of the older generations. But I think even like
Which is weird.
my
right?
British friend said like, yeah, depending, like it's kind of like it's just like our country folks, like when you're not in the melting pot of cities
Yeah.
and
I think,
stuff.
Americans have this. There's like a cliche that we're like really, really rude, but like most Americans I've met are like super. I guess it's not really repressed, but it's like they're
Non-confrontational. Almost to a way of like, you get away from me, people.
Whereas like when you go to other countries, like you said, they'll just be very blunt and just tell you what they're thinking.
Yeah, and that's how that's kind
a
of
shot.
And maybe it's because we're Americans and we have it coming, but I have no idea.
I
But
don't
No,
know.
I think it's
definitely
just
felt the same
because I've heard
same
like
way.
the saying the Southern hospitality where they're more. I think they're a little more direct in the South and like they're more friendlier.
I mean,
talkative.
obviously we are able to take any sort of critique to our face.
Anyways,
when we're with fans, but
It was more-
I do feel a little more like
Yeah.
I do feel a little. You do feel just a little shittier about yourself over there because it's not like we're like saying we're so great or something. We're like we literally go over there. It costs them a lot of money to fly us over there. We do the show and we go back. You know what I mean? Like it's not like we're not living a life of luxury. or
For the
something.
record, like it was more amusing than anything, and like I
Yeah.
obviously responded in jest, like.
And
But when I heard the same stuff,
yeah.
I heard all that stuff said to you, and I also heard the stuff said about Brian, and I'm just like, what? like what? That's the reaction. The reaction
There-
was definitely like, did it, and we all
I'm
turned
not-
ourselves like,
I
did they
will
just
say
say that
this.
to us?
I will
Like,
say this: all of the younger generation fans in the UK were absolutely
So
lovely.
polite,
We're
yeah.
talking about like an older
and that,
generation.
yeah, and that's
But
not, and it's-
I like heard fat comments made.
Yeah,
towards
I'm like,
Brian,
yeah.
and I was like, I couldn't process it. I was just kind of staring at them, like, what am I hearing?
but it's not. It's
like,
the
they
way
thought
that
it
it's
was
presented.
okay.
You know, it's the way it's presented. It's not.
I think someone. I think I mentioned this either to a friend in the UK and they said, "Yeah, well, you're in Lincolnshire, like
Yeah,
it's a little more
it
in the
could be
country.
regional
Like,
too,
yeah,
yeah.
there's just
and you can because for a moment you're like, are you trying to get a rise out of us or something? Are you trying to make us mad?
I think that's just.
But then you wait a
how it
while
is.
and you're like, oh no, you thought that was okay to say.
They're all in what's the word? They have good intentions. They just don't know they're being kind of rude.
So I think that was I don't know if that was shocking, but that was kind of like a weird like because you're there as a guest and you're trying to be on your best behavior and you're like, okay, we're fat and we're you know what I mean? Like I don't know. That's what it
because in
felt like.
America, if anyone says like that, they're trying to like hurt your feelings
Yeah.
and bring you down.
and I don't
Like,
think we're
that's-
sensitive.
I don't think that. Yeah.
And if you wanted to make a fat joke, there's a it's got to be funny. It's not even sarcasm.
But
That's
even
my problem.
but even then, like, why would you go up to a person you don't really know and then like
But I think that's
make a fat comment
yeah,
about them? Like, that's just, like,
it's not even. We're not even like even if we were.
like, that's
Oh,
just
I got
rude.
asked out for drinks by some guy who he wasn't a fan. He was there. He was staying in the dorm room for another reason, like what do you call it? Not Peace Corps, but he was there for something like that. And he like talked me up for like 20 minutes, and I couldn't get away. And he was like, "Oh, you want to go out and get some drinks tonight?" And I was like, "No." It's like, but he wasn't British. He was from he was European. I don't remember what country, but anyway, that was just a weird
Well,
experience.
anyways,
I had.
we're not saying that America's
British
great or
people,
anything.
why are you so rude? No,
I'm just
No,
British
no,
people
no.
are just. They probably say, we have dicks in our country too. You know,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
to put it lightly.
Because I mean, it's just
Some people are just mean. I guess.
we also were coming from like California. We're coming from a very progressive state, but at the same time, like we know what it's like not to because we've traveled over to other, and it's not like we're
Yes.
super polite over
That-
here.
We
that's
come from
also
a-
very important.
from a
to-
very progressive state.
It sounds like,
No.
oh, your feelings were hurt. Like, well, it's
no,
not
but
that.
it's
more
true.
like.
I mean, like culturally.
But if we're talking about it, like, yeah.
I live in California. I mean, going to another state could be like being in another country as far as culture is concerned.
I probably already bitched about this before, but like I remember in that one, we're trying to make it worth the event's while to be
Yeah.
there. So we do the dinners and the lunches and the tea and stuff. So I was sitting at tea and I just felt like
oh yeah, I
it
know
felt
what
like
you're gonna say.
because I heard those stuff that you guys said, but for me it was more like things against the band, and maybe it was just because they don't like me in the band or something, but it felt like here I'm being polite and like they would say something and then they would they just kept shutting me
Push
down,
it back
just like
on-
why am I even and then you could see that like some of the younger people were like
Getting-
very much like, oh okay, they want to hear you talk.
I think it's
Yeah.
also a little like they see you as the leader, and so like answer for all these questions I have.
But also, it was
Which is-
more-
yeah,
and then
I-
they turn, or like an older person would say something, and I only noticed this because we do this a lot, and I'd only noticed it in the UK the 2 years we were there. and they would say something, and then all the young people would be like, yeah, and then I would be like, I don't know, and I don't know what it was. It was as a question about like, why aren't you on the radio station? And I'm like, because radio's dead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I had that in me. Like, it's
I mean,
like that. Those kind of questions where it's just very, like, why? Like, I'm not going to explain to you why we're not on the radio, but like, it's not really in our best interest to do that. And I just felt like we kept getting grilled about questions like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I had a little easier, but I warned people like that I came to the table like I wasn't feeling too well, so like they kind of backed off for me. But I think also it's just, I don't know. Yeah, I've heard the radio thing brought up a lot, and I'm like, I don't know if people know how the radio works.
I don't listen to the radio.
And I said that, and then all the
radio?
kids there were like, oh yeah, well, and I put it like, well, you know, that's a good idea. I mean, we wouldn't mind being on the radio, but I don't think it's something we've actively pursued. And I always put it that way, like in a very like, that's great, but it always felt like that wasn't a good enough answer. And I'm like, because I feel like, and maybe it's just the radio thing, but it's questions like that we just don't really get asked anywhere else, like. Because, you know, it's like, when's your next album coming out? Like, oh, yeah, okay. That one makes sense. Like, but then other stuff, it feels... I felt like that was the fat jokes to me, because like, oh yeah, you're the one in charge. Why aren't you why aren't you getting interviews while you're here?
In defense of your country, I mean, these were the same people that were making the fat jokes.
You're right.
Like,
I mean, not talking about just
the
UK,
people
but...
the people that were rude were consistently kind of rude.
You seem to get the questions about like, you're doing this wrong. You could be a lot more successful if you do this.
Well, it's one of those like
they know better than you,
or like I'm the only one in the band or something. Like I'm running it. Or something.
It's frustrating. I mean, we love our fans, and obviously like these events went well and they're great. But sometimes it's just like, oh gosh, folks like that just make it harder to do your job, because you're like, what? I'm already like, I'm here like
we're
doing this for you,
jet
like
lagged, and we have a show. Like we're doing the most that anyone could possibly do.
We're not getting paid. We're not, etc. It's like
because the costs to get over there are extraordinary.
Yeah.
Like we have to like, you know.
But those were the minority.
Yeah, and I think most people understand. Like it was just a little weird. Like,
but anyway, and also the majority of people obviously super nice, and we had the autograph lines after the show. We had the lunch and stuff.
We're gonna go on Twitter and be like, Steam Powered Giraffe doesn't
hates the UK.
Hates the UK. Don't bring them back.
Well, wait, we talked about it before. Like if the people want to take it out of context, then that's their damage.
It's just because the UK was mentioned. Like I said,
sure.
I can talk
we're
about.
We're not going to lie that some people didn't literally say more than one fat joke to Brian.
I actually went to the UK 2 months prior and never had any of those issues.
Yeah.
I think the most was I ran into some hooligans, you know, the soccer fans, because it was right next to the Ryco Arena. So like that, there was a little bit of like, there was like the insulting catcalls for me and my friend.
Yeah.
You know, because we're larger ladies, and like but those were like hooligans, and most of the people there were just like, stay away from them. You know, like
that was kind of tied into an earlier question too about like, you know, how does that affect your composure and stuff? And I was gonna say I'm not talking about Steam Powered Giraffe fans, but when we're at a convention, we have the unique experience of being women, and at conventions like that's a big thing, is like, okay, how do I stay polite when I'm being creeped on by an attendee? And I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about the random people who don't know who you are, who decide to make lewd comments about you and stuff.
Yeah, because we don't even have to be doing Steam Powered Draft stuff for you guys to get that kind of stuff.
So like my whole public, you know, like staying nice and how I present myself in public is like, that is a factor that's like, well, when do they cross the line? When am I allowed to be rude when on the job? And that's a big issue for me.
It's hard. Yeah.
And to make the UK people feel not as bad, like we have anything we've ever done, there's always been an instance. So it doesn't matter where in the country or the world that we are, there's always those people.
I've been mistreated more here than in the UK, you know.
Sure,
I'm just saying, like, we're not bashing.
We had one
anything.
Particularly troublesome event that, well, I'm not going to say what it was or what happened, but just that we actually had to like put an end to the stalking by sending like direct messages to this person like that was just creeping on folks in the band.
Yeah, and like, what do they expect? Like, I mean,
well, I mean, and that's the thing,
like
random sexism and stuff from people that are not fans, like that'll keep happening. But when you have a fan that's doing it, the other fans don't don't really appreciate that, and I don't think they could last long anyways, you know?
Yeah.
They kind of get out of like, oh, this fan's a creepo.
It's just when you think about that stuff, I mean, my first thought is like, boy, none of this is worth it. That's what it feels like. And that's not to say that we're going to stop Steam Power Draft because of it, but it is, in the moment, it feels like, I didn't sign up for this. It's not even part of being friendly. It's part of like, I don't know.
That kind of goes back to the other question, which is just like, that's the kind of stuff that breaks you down. It's like, you only have so much energy and spoons, and it's like, if someone wants to drain that from you, it's like, you have to like, I put up barriers. Like, if they do that, I'm just like, if I remember their face and I know they're going to see them throughout the weekend, I will just know that when I see them, I'm going to have to like be a little more delicate or like steel myself to just for the awkwardness that'll ensue or whatever.
It can be frustrating, especially at large conventions. I mean, like I watched, especially when you start learning their predatory behavior.
Yeah.
I watched someone very explicitly hang around the table, talk to me, Camille and David, very friendly. As soon as David turned his back to talk to someone else, he started making very inappropriate comments
like,
to me
so
and Camille,
it's
to the point where it was like the one time ever while on the job at the merch table, I kind of like shot back and basically told him to get lost. And it was like,
and they do
it's
that.
so discouraging when you
'cause
watch
also
him watch the man turn away and then immediately prey on you.
And they do it so there's no other witnesses. So
there's no other witnesses. So then I feel like a crazy person.
But then also we're there as guests. So and unfortunately, like even though all the events we've gone to would definitely want to solve that kind of stuff, it's one of those.
You can't control everyone.
If you complain, you're literally like you're pretty much setting yourself up for like we're not gonna have that again because we're just gonna get these complaints.
Exactly.
And that is a fear for us because like if we can go a whole event without saying anything, and that's the thing. Like of course the events were like they need to say something to us, but to be honest, like the fear for us is that if we're too much of a hassle for them,
we'll lose.
We won't
get
the gig, and that's how it will go. You know.
I think honestly the band members have an easier time because I don't get harassed as much because I don't have to stay anywhere for very long. But at the merch table, you can't really escape.
Yeah,
that
you can't
kind of
really
stuff.
run away.
But it's also the it's kind of an entity too. So when I hear stuff from that Chelsea or Camille had to go through or Bunny and stuff, it's like because you have this defensive thing of like we're. Especially when not that I run the whole thing, but like it feels like I don't have any control over any of that.
Well, I mean that's the problem.
It's not fair for everyone.
And that's just how it is. Like,
and it's not Steam Power Draft, but
sexism in general. It's that feeling of like people like you are going to feel powerless because the predators are doing it when you're not watching.
But we're putting ourselves in a position where it's like even just being attendees at these events would be.
Yeah,
you're setting yourself up for.
I'm sure
that.
our audience has a million instances that they can really. I think.
Yeah, I didn't mean to derail. I was like,
no, it's
me
important.
Of
It's
this.
just, I mean, it comes with the job.
Yeah.
It's just the on the note. Gosh, my brain. We're talking about part of the job. Comes with gosh, I had lost it.
Yeah, and then very recently at a convention, I had me and Camille. It was like a kind of a dead period. No one was around, but we were just at the table selling stuff, and we had like a person come up to the table and just try and like make small talk with us, just chit chat. They didn't know who we were, but it's because we were girls, and no one's around. I can zero in on them. And the weird thing about that one was that he was talking to us about another female guest at the convention and like saying like lewd sexist stuff about them to us. So we were just kind of like staring like deer in the headlights, like what are we supposed to do about this? Like we can't be mean, we're on the clock, we have to be professional. It's like what do you do in that situation? It was so bizarre.
There comes a point where you can just
say, I know
sorry damn it. So you can just say
what
to heck with it.
Did we actually say a word?
I did.
Can you write down the time?
I don't know
it's
the
1:11.
time.
We've been going for
it is infuriating.
Over an hour.
Someone write down 1 minute 6 seconds.
1 minute 6
Sorry
seconds.
about that.
That's all right.
It just pisses me off.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say I think it's getting better. I do think like, and usually the younger people are
1 minute, 1 hour.
1
6
hour.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Usually they're. I think it's changing, and like especially the movements and stuff, because people know that if this lewd behavior gets out, like if you see it, say something, because you have to be held accountable. It's not that hard to not be a freaking creep. Like,
Yeah, especially when, like, I don't know.
it's people that just want to get away with it, and they know they're doing like crappy things. They only get upset when they can't get away with it. Like,
but with that said, this makes it sound like all we have is negative things.
we can vent on our podcast.
Yeah, but just to remind everyone, we have it's a very small percentage of
course,
the time.
yeah.
There's thousands of people who we get to interact with who are just, I wouldn't say normal, but they're not harassing us or people around them.
I will say this. Yeah, I mean, except for maybe one incident, none of the creeps or creepy behavior towards me at events or conventions were from a fan. They were all passerbys and other people, other attendees.
Totally. Yeah, for sure.
And we've had just not to, man, it's always like, no, we're not saying bad things about the UK. we're not saying bad things about men. There's also girls that have been creepos, and it's not always.
It's not just men.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that, but like, yeah.
Yes.
No,
I mean, like,
because in my mind I'm like, I can't complain about that. I can't complain because it's not correct. But holy,
the women can sometimes just be as bad.
I was
sometimes
gonna say, like, we can't exclude people like David from this conversation because that's the truth. Is that it's not just.
But to be fair,
men towards women.
My reaction is, and I still think is like, well, it's not a big deal because.
Yeah, I mean, not to be morbid, but I'm like, hey, I worry about someone pulling a gun on me or something. It's like it's or a physical struggle. Like, there is a difference, but that doesn't make what the women do to the men in the band any better.
Totally.
Yeah. I just have the luck of being in society where.
Sometimes
where it's not as big of a deal, I guess.
Sometimes I've seen women comment to both you and me back when I was a dude, like, about basically saying things that is highly inappropriate because if they're a girl, you can't really say anything. And it's like, I'm not. Are you trying to bait me? Like, I'm not. Like, I'm
they
not
know
gonna,
what they're doing.
And the worst part is like our demeanor and our presentation outward doesn't show that would be okay at all.
Exactly.
We're not very lewd or not. Yeah. I mean. Even me, like, I think I'm the least lewd person in the band. I would imagine. I mean,
you're
other
very
than,
proper.
As far as like talking,
but like
social
I've
media
been there.
stuff.
I've seen the creepy girl fans say like crazy stuff to you.
Yeah, and
So,
I think the difference is like
both ways.
Like it's fine to like have admiration for someone in a band and whatever, but after a certain point, it's like it shouldn't make any of us feel uncomfortable. And I think, and that's a hard thing to judge, I suppose, but
and I know like some people like might be listening and being like, oh, I hope I didn't like leave a bad impression. And if you're wondering that, you probably didn't, because most of these people don't care.
It's always the more casual fans.
And if you're like, oh, I'm awkward, I don't want to make. The awkwardness never bothers. Like, not everyone is great at talking, especially if you're
awkward. I'm never going to hold that against you.
If you're meeting someone you like that you respect or anything, like, you're not going to come off as like
and like even if you've done like something that's been like, oh, that one thing I said I shouldn't have said that. Like, that is not. This is we're talking about things that like are haven't happened very often, but they leave such a big impression that they kind of like. And you just wow, that's super inappropriate.
Yeah, and you just get a feeling from people. Like anyone that we've talked about just now, like being creepy or rude, like the chances of them listening to this are so small. They're the more casual fans.
Yeah.
So, anyways, thanks for all of you out there who just enjoy the band, and you don't have to feel like you're. We would let you know, like the people who we would let you know somehow if there was too much, but it's those ones that we
exactly. It's part of the job. It's not those are the stressors, but they're not as common,
It's just that's just the kind of it comes with the territory, but sometimes it does feel like, oh boy, I wish this wasn't part of it.
This podcast has been pretty informative. Do we have another question?
Yes.
How many do we have to get through? Because we don't want to
we don't have to keep going on for too much longer. Maybe just 15 more minutes or so.
We've got 15 more questions.
Yeah, because that would be an hour and a half.
We can see if we can. Is that fine or?
Yeah, we've done 3.
We'll just put them over to.
I've listened to podcasts that are 2 hours long, 1 hour long. It doesn't really matter.
No, I don't mind going over it. If we want to finish them, we can.
Do you want to? No, I mean, there's 15 more. We'll be here all night.
Let's just be concise and answer a few more.
How about we go to 1:30?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Okay. Rev asks, a friend of mine noticed that in Honeybee, Bunny taps her foot in front, David taps his foot behind, and the third member taps their foot against their other foot. Is that intentional or just something that happened in a single odd moment?
I don't go behind. I tapped it to my foot.
I tap it to my foot too, but it might just be, balance or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's what it is with the guitars and stuff.
It's just kind of changing.
And also, like, you have to look at like where people are shifting their weight. Brian has his weight on a different area than Sam did, than John did. So.
I'm a girl, so I might shift my weight in a different way than.
So it's coincidence.
But it's supposed to be the feet together. But you know, if you go back, it's just because you're trying to balance. And also, it's because we've never really talked about it. It's just when we see it, we can when we kind of like rehearse it, we can see like, oh yeah, we're all kind of doing it differently. But because I feel like Bunny does it more flowy, and I do it very robotic-y, and then Brian I can't really see because he's on the side. But you know,
That's a good observation though.
But when you look at it during videos, it looks like we're all doing something very similar.
Yeah.
So that's But if you look at it, like we all kind of have a different way to do it.
This next question is from Will. To Penyacs and Bennett's, kind of random, but do either of you ever argue over who the alpha sibling is?
No.
Not really.
No.
I don't.
Maybe when we were children, like, but there might have been like favoritism or something going on.
Yeah, of course.
But other than that, like, not really.
The only time I lord being the older sibling over Camille is like as a joke. Like, no, we've never had any issues like that. We're pretty equal.
In childhood, I was definitely the one that our parents disliked more, but not in a bad way. More in a I'm the older. I have no idea because we're twins, so we're the same age, and I think our mom liked Bunny more, and then our dad was kind of just indifferent. Not I don't know. That makes it sound bad, but you know. But Bunny knows what I'm trying.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, when you're a kid, like I know we would joke about it, and then sometimes those jokes might be a little mean and hurt our feelings. But I think like overall, like we always consider each other equal. But now being an adult and looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, my mom was kind of problematic. Of
course. Because neither of us,
we
never did anything like remotely wrong. Like, you know, you would see other kids like, oh, we were tormented other people, or like we were the shyest like kids ever and never did anything wrong. But we had a mother who was kind of not great. So you know.
So anything like that, that's all like it was just instigated by her pretty much.
Yeah.
Because she had her own issues when she was a kid. You know, like playing psychologist after the fact when it's so obvious, like as an adult, like, oh yeah, because this is her relationship with her sister, so I'm her sister when you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Which is like just and it's just a weird like whatever. It's just you just don't do that to your kids.
We're getting on the deep topics here on this.
Well, we have a lot to talk about.
I know. Well,
it's not. This one's not a funny episode.
I was like gauging our energy. Like, is it going to be a funny one? Is it going to be? It's a serious one.
Yeah. I could keep going if you want to try and get some out. Hope asks, "What's y'all's favorite sushi? If you like sushi, that is."
Caterpillar roll.
Gosh,
I like eel.
Oh, nigiri, just plain old like fish and rice. I like mine simple.
I like lobster
belly.
roll or langoustine. Usually they call it dynamite sauce. It's really tasty.
Get that spicy mayo off my sushi though.
Salmon belly nigiri.
I don't need it. They drench it.
I can do a little bit of spicy tuna and stuff, but maybe one or two.
I like the occasional like deep fried roll, but for me, like it's all about the simplicity.
Oh yeah, the nigiri is like amazing.
Fish attack, salmon belly nigiri is like heaven.
It's okay.
Gotta go there.
Sushi. I know I said I wanted a sandwich and chips earlier, but
we can keep going. We still have 10 minutes.
AJ asks, have you guys been watching the new Umbrella Academy series on Netflix? Are you guys fans of the comics? If you're watching the series, what are your favorite parts of the series and your least favorite?
Well, we're not going to talk about the plot just because I don't think.
But
sorry,
I think I'm four episodes in.
We have 3 more episodes to go.
We're not fans of the comics. They asked if you're fans of the comics. Are you hyped for Hotel Oblivion? And I don't know what that is.
No, I don't know what that is.
But I like show's good.
Show's
Do you know who wrote the comics?
The guy from
Gerard
Chemical.
Way.
That's crazy, right? It's actually pretty good. Like I'm enjoying it, and like the one thing I will say, like I usually don't like monkeys, but like the chimpanzee is like one of the best characters, and also he looks amazing. Like every time I look at the scene, I'm like, how did they do that? Like where's the budget for this?
Yeah.
I keep looking to see if like it's an actor in a suit, but it's not. It's just
he's played by, or at least the voice. He's played by I don't remember the actor's name. He was in Breaking Bad. Elliot, the gray matter guy.
But anyways, yeah, it's really
Yeah,
great.
it's
Kind of reminds
great.
me of Legion a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's definitely my favorite superhero show right now.
It's
It's really
touching.
good.
And I really. Like
I haven't
it.
seen Doom Patrol, but
Doom Patrol's. Oh my god, that second episode. It. I don't know how to. Who's the guy? The villain? He's Adam Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the main villain, and he breaks
He
the
does really
fourth
good
wall a lot.
villains.
It just keeps getting zanier, and
Oh,
Brendan
I gotta check it
Fraser is
out.
so nice. There's I don't know how to describe it without spoiling it, but it's just really weird.
Wow, nice.
Even with the addition of Cyborg, I'm like, oh, he's pretty good, and like
I like weird.
so weird. Just as a.
I mean, I fell in love with Legion. I'd probably like it if it's
the
weird.
cinematography is a little bit. It's not as weird as that,
Yeah.
but like the plots are just asinine, and like they're not really. They're superheroes, but they're all kind of like crappy superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of them is like, I won't spoil anything, but a lady has 64 different personalities, and each one of those personalities has a superpower. So that's really interesting. And as you're watching her, like you start learning like, okay, she's going into this mode, and like, so the actress is like has all these. It's so great. You gotta watch it. And Brendan Fraser's pretty great in it.
Yeah.
Even though
I
he's
gotta
just doing the
check
voice,
that out.
like pretty great.
I'm definitely gonna check that out. Next question is from Jules. Bunny, I remember you talking about a candy you really like but can't typically find in the U.S.
Candy?
Was it Violet Crumble? Yeah, candy.
It's Violet Crumble, and it's getting harder and harder to find.
Hmm.
It's an Australian candy bar. It's a honeycomb candy bar.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. Like my
So
whole life,
good.
I've sought them out. You can get them at World Market.
Yeah, they're usually like stale.
Yeah,
It's like a
honeycomb.
softer Heath bar.
Heath bar's
it's-
not honeycomb. I don't think.
No,
No.
it's not. That's
But
top.
But
it's
it's like
like
the
it's the
closest
closest
Violet
thing.
Crumble's,
Yeah.
yeah. You can also get like at Disneyland.
They also have it in the
chocolate
UK. It's
shop.
called a. Is it called a Crunchy? I think it's called.
Oh,
Anyway,
crunchy.
yeah.
Yeah. Disneyland makes them in like bite-sized pizzas. They're like Violet Crumble.
What are they called?
They're like dark chocolate covered honeycomb. They sell them in
Goofy's
the
honey.
chocolatiers.
Pooh Bear's honey extravaganza.
Okay. Little Bear. My daughter Little Bear would like to know how David came up with the name The Spine.
It was an alias for AOL back when we were using Windows 3.1. Had to create a username. I like dinosaurs, and dinosaurs like have spines, not like
or
they're
feathery spines or
something coming out of their skin. And
Yeah.
so I did Spine Raptor until AOL let you have longer names, and then I made an account that had Spine Raptor, and I've just used that as my alias and email for years.
I think mine was a dinosaur. Mine was Baryonyx 5. But then eventually it turned into Twisted Rabbit, and that became kind of... Yep, we just used our screen names.
I mean, just because if you get attached to something, it's easier because then I don't feel like it's not really my name. I didn't have to grow into it. Like Spine just always felt like something.
It's cool.
So if you're looking for a name for your fake band...
But most usernames are like references to stuff. That was just like it's not even like a thing.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't.
Baryonyx is just my favorite dinosaur.
Next question.
Well, sometimes it's like a reference to a show or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, that wouldn't really work. But if it's just a word, then it
My
doesn't work.
online handle is just like pieces of my name. C Penny.
Yeah.
It's just
My robot name's Captain Jack Sparrow.
Chelsea Paniac
1986.
with the front and back shaved off.
We probably have time for
A couple more.
couple more
So
questions.
if we don't get through this, then that means I got to go through in Discord and delete all the ones we have answered.
I can do
and
that.
okay.
As
long as I don't have to do it.
I'm gonna ask the Jeff Wayne question because they've
Sure.
asked twice now.
But you weren't here last time. So
Yeah. So for Bunny, this question is from Mitch. What happened with the Jeff Wayne estate?
Okay, so the Jeff Wayne estate. I'm always been a big fan of that musical. I was really into War of the Worlds in my teenage years. When I went to art school, that was when the Steven Spielberg movie was coming up, and Jeff Wayne was getting a little more proactive, his people and stuff. I don't think they had started touring at that point. This was like 2004, 2005. I was in a game art and design class studio thing, and I was like trying to come up with some projects, and one of them was something I called War of the World Refugee, which was going to be like a class-based system with characters from the novel, but funny. Like one was a soldier, one was a priest, and one was a medic. But before I really got any work done on it, I got contacted by Jeff Wayne. Well, Jeff Wayne's estate people, and they contacted me and said, you can't do this because we still own the rights in the UK. I don't know if that's true right now, but I was like, oh, I didn't mean to step on anything. Like I showed them my concept art. I said like, look, I'm not trying to rip off your designs or anything. And they said, that's fine, but we still own it. Like, what would you be interested in making a video game for us? And I'm like, I don't think I have. This was more of like a concept, but I said, there's not much I can help you with. And they responded by letting me in on some of the stuff they were thinking about doing. One was a chessboard that that I would have loved to have, but they never produced it. They didn't do any more video games as they thought, but they were interested in making a Jeff Wayne video game, a new one. And I had played both of them. The one that was you could only play in the UK on a PlayStation 2 or 3.
It was probably it was definitely like a
it was older. So I think I asked you to can I play this? How can I get this to emulate? So we installed something that I could, and then I played the PC one, which was kind of fun actually.
I remember playing that a few times.
But yeah, so that's the story. They were kind about it, and that's it. The project didn't go anywhere. I still have the concept art. I should post that somewhere.
But like you were pretty young too, right? Middle school, high school?
No, this was like the first year in college because I was in game art design class.
Then I'm remembering it wrong.
I thought
it was like when we were, but that's probably just because I don't know. Just we have different memories.
But yeah, the project I end up I didn't stay long enough to like really get into all that. But the project that I eventually went with kind of turned into some of the stuff in Steam Power Draft and some of the stuff that I work on right now, like some of those ideas. Anyways, that's like a whole another thing. I can talk about that on my Patreon. Thank you for the question.
I'm just laughing at this comment in the engineer chat saying Buster Scruggs kind of looks like Rex Marsley.
I mean, I suppose
that was a good
the
Netflix.
white.
Yeah, they're just wearing
I
white.
haven't.
That was a good
the Coen Brothers
little.
Yeah, that was the best one in my. I mean, they're all
anthology.
good, but like that one was definitely like.
I'll have to watch
the
it.
Liam Neeson one really.
It's that's the most lightheartedness, and it's not very lighthearted either.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
Buster Scruggs. The Liam Neeson one is a different one, and that one was.
You can turn it off after 6 minutes after the first one
haunted
goes.
me.
If you don't want to stick around for all the
are
others.
we wrapping up?
One more question.
One more question. Kindy asks, David, where did you get the Rex Marsley hat?
I think I bought it from the Village Hat Shop, just because you can probably get them on Amazon too. But at the time, I just ordered online and it's a Stetson, so they make pretty high quality stiff cowboy hats. So I don't know the model or anything, but that's where I got it. I ordered online. I already knew my hat size based on the Spine's hat size.
Cool. One more question.
There we go.
One more question?
One more question. You can do it.
All right. Kelsey asks, for Bunny, can you give any tips or advice on art commissions? I've been doing them for a bit, but still can't settle on a solid pricing. How do you decide how to price your art?
Price it more. Always price it more. Like I know it's hard because you want to get out there more, but I mean, it's whatever is worth it to you. If people aren't biting, then maybe it's not something you want to do. I always charge more than you think. Whatever you think you should get paid, just add like $10 or so dollars more.
I mean, that's good advice for me too with my freelance photography.
Right now,
I always am like timid about what to charge people.
Your sketches, and I know this sounds like a big price, $30 to $40. If you can dial it back down a little bit there.
I mean, especially if you're starting out or whatever. But like if you have like a portfolio, then
back when I started, like 10 or 15, but that price does not make any sense in the economy we live in right now. Like $30, $40 for a sketch, and it goes up from there. Because people might not want to pay it, but realistically, aim for that.
It's because the people still have in their heads that's like an acceptable price. But like it's the same thing with like CDs and stuff with too. It's like, well, CDs have always been like $10-ish, but now it's like, well, look at inflation and stuff.
Honestly, if I was going to do sketches, I know people wouldn't want to pay $40 for a sketch, so I'd probably say 20 or 25. But then for like color, I'd be like 50 or just higher than you think. And people should understand if they don't.
Well, yeah, because the people who do want to pay it will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. There is time that you're going to be spending on the artwork, even if it is just a sketch, but they're paying for the skill. They're paying for the skill that you've developed. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I mean, do you want to do another one since that was for me? Is there a Chelsea question?
We still
no, I'm looking.
I was trying to get end on a nice Steam Power Draft one.
We're almost done, actually. I'll keep the one for Brian for next time.
Okay. Yeah.
Merc asks, thoughts on the Opportunity Rover?
It's very. I really love how the internet just loves that thing.
Yeah.
There was a cute Doctor Who one where she comes with the TARDIS and like brings her home.
I mean, people only care about it because it died.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I mean, it's been around for
it did.
It was a long
It went
time.
above and beyond.
Yeah.
And they got so much more use out of it than it was originally planned.
Well, I just think it's really nice that the reaction to it, even though it's like we were kids when it first.
Yeah.
But like, it's anytime that something like that happens, it's like it just reinvigorates young people to get interested about space and
Yeah.
stuff.
So I think it's all positive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, those things are big. Yeah, as a kid, you think they're like this big.
They're like you think they're like a little dog.
Because that's what they look like when you see the models in a museum, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And
Oh, really? They're actually pretty huge.
Oh yeah, there's like a picture
So
of
it's like-
like a
he's like-
NASA lady standing next to one, and it's like
Oh,
horse sized.
Doctor Who was like, it was like came up to
Yeah.
her knee or something.
Yeah,
think-
no, they're big.
I think some of them are small, but
Yeah.
But I think opportunities.
Man, you could
pretty
ride
big,
opportunity.
Yeah.
Probably. And
That would be great though. We'll find opportunity eventually and like build a museum on Mars.
sure.
It's great.
Hey, great use of our tax money. That's all I'm saying.
Get excited about space. It's good stuff.
Can you all do 4 more questions?
Let's do it. You
All
can
right.
do this.
Yeah.
Rev asks, what song would each of you say is the one you're most proud of creating and why? It doesn't have to be strictly SPG.
It's probably whatever the new one we're working on
Yeah.
is.
Let's probably drop it like it's hot. No, I don't know.
It does.
Yeah.
It shifts though. Like I don't like when I look at the popular songs like of ones that I've written. Like I don't feel like I did that. Like it's more like what's the next thing. I'm always looking for the next thing.
I like all our songs and like I'm proud of where I've come, I guess, but always looking for the next.
But it's
thing.
not necessarily like the reception is nice. But sometimes there's songs that like I really like on an album that like pretty much just don't ever see the light of
Yeah.
day. Like just because they don't have a music video or they don't have something. And then like that was my favorite song. on
Over
that
the Moon.
album.
Over the Moon is like my favorite song that I did, and I'm like, no one knows it exists.
I love On a Crescendo.
On a Crescendo is really great.
But
Yeah.
it goes in and I got it out there and now I can move on to the next thing. That's how it
Yeah.
kinda
Yeah.
goes for us, I suppose.
Sure.
So when people like a song we like, we're like, oh, okay, cool. But like, I feel like it doesn't like maybe people imagine that like we put out Honeybee and AEH and Brass Goggles and we're like, oh my God, why can't we write anything this good again? Like that's not how it feels.
No,
at
I
all.
mean,
Like,
we just, it was kind of
yeah.
like shooting in the dark. Like, just, we don't know what this is
Yeah.
going to be popular.
And-
We're just going to do
And
it.
I don't think we're delusional enough to think that like, well, either way, we're not delusional enough to think that, well, we can write another one like that if we wanted to. I don't think we think that about at all, but we also don't think that it's
No.
like, oh, one hit, one. Like, in my mind, they feel like, well, that was that song and we wrote it, and people just happen to like it compared to this other one.
Sure.
And that could be for a variety of reasons, more so than just the melody, but, it is a lot of the melody and what's the catchiness, but execution's also another thing, so, I don't know. I never think like, I have a
I'm
favorite.
proud that we keep growing as musicians.
Next question from Little Macarons. Tell me how you feel about the new Pokemon.
I mean, I was kind of weird. I didn't understand the blue one, the water type, until I saw a meme
Sobble.
about it holding a finger, and I was like, oh, it's a chameleon. I'm like, that's
Yeah,
pretty cute.
Water chameleon.
Yeah, he's cute. He'd
The
be
monkey,
the one I picked.
monkey Pokemon just need to go away.
Some people are thinking that it might be a gorilla, which would be
Either
at
way.
least a little different.
I don't know.
But I'm gonna. I don't. It's either the bunny or the chameleon that I want. But I
Yeah.
don't. It's gonna
The
base it
bunny
on what
is
they
like
turn into.
a soccer player. That's what it looks like.
It has like the
It's-
Band-Aid thing on its
yeah.
nose, which immediately turns me off.
I mean, I don't like it, but if I had to
So-
pick one, it's gonna be whatever the fire one is.
It's another
Well, let's wait.
fighting type too.
Let's
I
wait
think.
to
Yeah.
see what the evolutions.
Yeah,
look like.
because
But anyway,
I
hope-
love the little chameleon.
I saw an article on.
He's no
today.
Rowlett though.
Yeah.
Rowlett's
He's
the
the
best.
cutest.
Yeah, no, they're not as cute this
When
generation.
does he come in? When does Rowlett get into Pokemon Go?
I like that an article this morning was like that people are kind of lukewarm, like or questioning fans are. So that's good though, because my biggest complaint is that there's no innovation in Pokemon,
Yeah.
and looks, and according to that trailer, it doesn't look like there's overworld encounters again, like they had in
Oh.
Pokemon Let's Go.
Which is, I might not get it if it doesn't, because I just, after playing it that way, I'm like, this. I never liked that in Pokemon.
And also, we've played these games for 20 plus years now. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't played all
Except
of
me.
them, but I played them. I played a lot of them, and like, Let's Go. I like all the new mechanics, but like, that game's pretty grindy.
It's just because
same
it's an
with
older game, but
yeah, yellow.
But the
red,
mechanics
blue.
and stuff are pretty solid. Like, I actually like them.
Yeah, it's just I just
Catching a
wish there
Pokemon without
was-
battling. I know that's
Because there's the people who want it. They want the same game over and over and over again. They want new Pokemon. They want new areas.
Here's what I
explore,
hope:
but
they have options that let
Yeah.
you change what happens.
But I don't know. I think people really want like, and I wouldn't say action RPG, but they probably want something that's a little more. The camera's not fixed. The camera, you can spin it around.
Yeah.
You can walk around in this giant open world. But it's the same formula. It's some linear map, which it's kind of big enough to be. You know what I mean? Like they're open worlds, but they're not really open worlds.
That it's probably not going to innovate as much as we hope could. But yeah, I'm like trying to get through like Ruby still and Sun and or Moon, and it's like I've done it so much. Like
It's the same formula.
I completed X, which was fun. I like that.
But
Yeah.
I guess people like us, like we've been playing it since that came out.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
But some people some people just can play it and not get burned
I've
out.
never played a single Pokemon game, and that's probably why I'm still playing Pokemon Go.
Pokemon
'Cause
Go is by far my favorite.
Yeah, it's new. It's a new thing for me, and even after all these years, like I'm still not bored of it because it's just a time waster. It's fun to take it out and catch some Pokemon.
Really like to get their stats on Pokemon
yeah,
games.
see, I
and
don't care
battles.
about
I
any
don't
of
really care
that.
about battles.
I just like collecting them.
My boyfriend has a living codex with every evolution.
Whoa.
A living?
Means that you have every evolution and everything.
Wow.
And is
With what game?
Because Let's Go Eevee.
Because you can't bring all of them from the old.
No, just all the ones in the
Yeah.
yeah. So it was just like he's really into the stats and stuff, and so I can understand like if that's the appeal, then you don't really.
But they
care.
can innovate and keep all that stuff. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like you can
I really
still
want the
appease those
overworld.
people.
I really want the overworld encounters at least, and maybe the catching without battling because it gets so repetitious.
Yeah, I mean, but the battling. Some people would argue that the battling.
Fair enough,
That was in the
yeah.
anime and stuff. So,
But not all the time. Sometimes Ash would just
you're
throw a
right.
ball and like catch that Pidgey.
Yeah. So hopefully options. I would rather have an action RPG because the waiting around does get boring for me too. Turn based because it's not. It's like Final Fantasy turn based, which is also like an issue because you're like, well, I've played a lot of Final Fantasies that have that, and it's like it's okay, I guess, but
How would you do that though with the Pokemon?
It would just be like
That would be kind of
you can
fun
still
though, wouldn't it?
You can take a look at some of the other Final Fantasies, or you can look at like some of the active battle systems and other RPGs.
I don't know if it should replace the main game, but I would love to play a game like that.
Yeah.
Pokemon tournament's kind of like that, but
it's more like Tekken.
Yeah.
Like a fighting game.
Anyway, next questions.
All right, we got two
Finish
left.
these up.
Maybe a
Another
2 hour
one from this question's from Kelsey again. Was it Bunny that made the art for Ollie and the Equinox Band? Just wondering, since it's a new style I haven't seen before. Whatever the case, I adore the song, art, and of course everyone's favorite drummer, Drummo.
Nope, I did not have a hand in that. I helped Gabby though with some of the concepts, just like with feedback. But no, that's all Gabby and David.
Yeah, we basically. I mean, we're just. So we don't spoil anything for people who aren't Patreon patrons. Like we have some art that we're using in live show projections when we have another live show. But we did it at the Echo Engine. Actually, no, we didn't because
Yeah.
the sound check people were able to see it, but there was a technical hiccup and we had to restart the song in the middle and the projections didn't work. But anyways, we have some concept art of the characters that song's about.
So go subscribe to Patreon.
If you want to go see them, because
Yeah.
we don't have it. It's nothing like official. Like I mean, they are official, but it's not like.
We're still working on it, so we don't. Yeah, so it's
So we're not like putting it out there in the open. Like we're not.
Yeah.
We're not trying to like say yes, this is final. Like we still want it to be open until we have an album out and music videos and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
yeah, and that was Gabby Gonzalez.
All right, last question from Firefeather. What's everyone's game or other form of entertainment of choice for this Bennettarium period?
Oh, what
like,
games
what's
we're
our
playing?
game of the month or movie of the month, whatever?
Okay.
What are you hooked on right now? I guess.
Anthem was going strong for a while, but there's not much to do in it.
and honestly, it's the same. Yeah, it's like it has a solid foundation, but
Oh yeah, it's super fun to play, but then you're like, oh, I'm done with the story. These games as services, like I like that, but at the same time, can't you just have a 60-hour game? Like,
it's I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand the mentality because it's like, well, then how do all these single player is the multiplayer? Does that detract that much from all the story to put into it? I don't understand.
I mean, they obviously spent a lot of time making the mechanics.
It's a problem with the probably with the game industry rather, or like the producing company, because they probably don't give them enough time.
They've had 6 years to work on this one. They've been working on it for a long time. I mean, I get it. It takes a while to come up with a concept and stuff. It's weird because like I mean, I get that it wasn't supposed to be a single player game, but as much it was supposed to be kind of somewhere in between, I guess. But
It's once the varnish rubs off, you start noticing that there is a lot of waiting. There's not a lot to do.
yeah, I feel like it feels very small in comparison to like. I mean, I don't want to compare, but like it's not because it's not the same game, but like even Destiny 2 feels bigger, and I was pretty disappointed with that didn't really take leaps and bounds.
Honestly,
forward.
yeah, I don't. I mean, but I'm not like angry at the like BioWare. Like I feel like I feel sympathy for the companies because I know that
they're putting out a lot of patches. They're doing a lot of patches,
and they're going through hard times. Like most of the game industry is not in a good state right now, and it's just like I feel for the developers. Like they no love, and they're trying their best, and a lot of them are probably straight out of my boyfriend who used to work for Rockstar says like most of them are like straight out of like high school and underpaid and like. And they're going to lose their jobs, like because that's what's going to happen. Like they're going to have layoffs, or a company's going to fold, and it's like, so yeah, what they came out with is pretty nice, but it's still just troubling to say. I can't say I like it because it's just.
Well, I mean, that's not about the quality. It's like, well, there's other games out there that are complete experiences that will hold your attention. For
God of War is pretty amazing, and it's like like I know they had some limitations and stuff, but like they just.
That is a game that's from start to finish. I don't know.
Pretty full of a game. Pretty full game. Like I don't know.
And I'm not disappointed that because I can put the same amount of hours into Anthem and not do as much, if that makes sense.
Exactly,
which is fine for some games, I suppose. But when Destiny came out, the first one, I was kind of like, please not this.
I kind of after Anthem, and it was kind of sank in. I was like, okay, I'm kind of. And I played the Division beta this morning. I'm like, maybe there's some mechanic I'm not seeing that like improvement wise, but it just feels like the same game. And not that I didn't enjoy the first game, but I'm just tired of it. It feels like Destiny 2, where it's like there's just the innovation is not really there.
So right now, there's not many. I mean, Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove just came out. I haven't played it yet, but I backed it on Kickstarter 4 years ago, and that'll be a nice blast to the past.
I've honestly been playing like mobile games, like card games and stuff.
Well, what is coming out that we're excited
What
for?
about Chelsea? Is Chelsea doing anything?
You were playing Civilization for a while.
Civilization 6, yeah.
Because the new expansion came out, right?
Yeah, the Gathering Storm they've got like natural catastrophes like floods and volcanoes and lots of new civilizations. I was playing the Maori. I'm really into that. And I'm also really obsessed right now with Cook Serve Delicious 2 on PS4. Huh. It's like a time management game where you're like running a restaurant and making orders and stuff, but it's just like one of those, like you're pressing a bunch of buttons and it's like it's stressful, but like when you get in the groove, it's like really fun.
I got it
I get
on
all into
Steam in a humble bundle, and then
it's really fun.
You pretty much play every game once to see if you like it, and like this one was like, oh, you can play it local multiplayer, and you can both be chefs, and you can both, yeah.
What games are you looking for? That's
Cyberpunk.
Okay, yeah.
Like all these other ones, Anthem I was pretty excited for, and it is good. It's just it's not.
It'll be much better in a year.
Yeah. But as long as you don't have to buy an expansion.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Witcher 3 is still up there. Red Dead was really good.
Yeah.
Even though the multiplayer is kind of non-existent. I mean, it's there, but, it's obviously, it's not as fleshed out as it needs to be to hold people's attention.
I'm still slowly working through Spider-Man and God of War. I haven't beaten those two yet, but they're
all great.
Pretty great, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wish they were on PC, but for the Sony exclusives, they're really good.
I reinstalled Marvel Ultimate Alliance on PS4.
Oh,
and I was like,
getting excited for the third one?
Yeah, it's like, but mechanically, it's like, it's kind of archaic.
Did you get the second one?
Yeah, it was like a bundle, I think, like a couple years ago.
The second one plays even better, like on the PS4.
That's cool. They're both. I'm excited for that because I really like the Marvel Heroes because it was kind of like that, but then they shuttered that service. So,
because obviously. Now they want Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
I'm looking forward to Path of Exile whenever it comes out on PS4, which
I played it on Xbox. Have you?
I dabbled.
The mechanics work, but I definitely want to play it on with a controller.
Just because it's been around forever and it's gotten a lot.
And I don't want to play on Xbox because I don't have anyone to play with on Xbox.
Exactly, that's the same reason.
And on PC, I don't really play games with a keyboard and mouse anymore these days.
I'm excited about the Elder Scrolls expansion. They're starting to release their pre-patches, but it won't come out until May. So I'm like,
Wait, what game?
Elder Scrolls Online, the Elsewhere. But I can only play so much of a certain game before I'm like, I need to take a break so I can enjoy it in a later time. Anyways,
E3 is going to come up eventually, right? So
yeah, it's actually pretty.
No, not really. Well,
the spring, yeah.
Well,
E3 is June.
Is it?
It's usually June.
No, I thought it was like April or something.
And then we can look forward to other games that might be a disappointment. Oh, Crash Team Racing. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's the game I'm
cool.
looking forward to most.
We played that. We rented it. No, we owned it. We owned Crash Team Racing.
Yeah. Movies coming out. Captain Marvel. I have my ticket for next week.
Is it next week?
Yep, March 8th. A lot of tickets are sold out. See it on a weekday.
They
Whoa.
stole Wonder Woman's advertising. Kind of
Did they?
bitter about that.
Did they?
Yeah. So Wonder Woman, the tagline on all the posters was "Justice begins with her," and Captain Marvel's is "Heroism begins with her," and it's just
Oh.
very blatantly copying.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, but I mean, I've seen all the
yeah.
Marvel movies. I'll see it.
Also,
Yeah.
it's still pretty. It's a pretty.
I know that they're
it's
using
still-
that tagline
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's a prequel, but it's still, from a marketing standpoint, it's
Yeah.
very blatantly copying Wonder Woman.
Totally. Oh yeah, totally. They're jumping on the
I'm like,
bandwagon,
really?
which is
Okay.
good, but at the
But-
same time,
Yeah.
But representation, it's all good, I suppose.
it's something that should have happened a long time ago. But
They
it's, at
pushed.
least-
I'm bitter about Captain Marvel. I do want to see it, but they pushed it back to make Spider-Man, which we have like 500 of already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm very bitter about it.
Yeah, the companies and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we're gonna get it. It looks
Yeah.
like it's gonna be pretty good. I don't know. And did you guys see his dragons yet?
No.
Nah, I haven't seen the first two. So
Oh,
wait, How to Train Your Dragon, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen any of them.
I've seen all
What
of them
an
except
what
the
an
new one.
adventure. Second one's the best.
Is it? So that means the third
First
one's
one's
not
pretty
worth
good.
seeing?
No, it's fine. Just
I
nothing.
haven't seen any movies.
Nothing will
lately.
compare to that one scene in the second one.
Okay.
But no. I mean that's the only reason to go see these movies is the dragons, like how they're animated and stuff. And the third one's definitely filled with more like, oh, or oh, that's hilarious, or wow, that new dragon they had is really cool, or that one's really cute.
Okay.
So
So the dragons are the stars. I don't really care about the humans.
Yeah.
Hiccup and what's her face
Oh,
are pretty much
memorable name.
are Astrid are the only ones that really have an arc, which is I understand, but I know the TV series apparently everyone gets more arcs, but
So you're saying T.J. Miller's character isn't in it anymore?
no, he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, and he's good, but David Tennant's in it. And he has one line. It's like they're just if you want to, I wish I could have delved more into these characters without having to watch like the prequel Netflix shows. But you get to see them progress. You can kind of like fill in the blanks. But I really wish that there was more arcs. But it's really about Toothless and Astrid and Hiccup and.
I don't really know the next movie that I'm like super looking forward to in theaters. What's coming out? The last thing I
Captain
saw was
Marvel.
Stan and
Detective
Ollie, which was really good.
Pikachu.
Oh,
Detective
Detective Pikachu.
Pikachu.
Yeah.
Wait,
Godzilla.
when does that come out?
Godzilla.
When does
Godzilla.
Detective Pikachu come out?
No one knows. April or.
Hey Siri,
March.
when does Detective Pikachu come out?
Okay, I found this on the web for what is the text of Pikachu come out. Take a look.
Good job, Siri.
Cool.
That's not what I said.
Godzilla is a big one for me because it comes out right before my birthday, and the last one was a really disappointing birthday. It's the last Godzilla movie to come out.
Yeah.
I hope this one redeems it.
The trailers are just look more and more amazing.
Oh my gosh. I know.
I'm also kind of looking forward to the Elton John biopic, or not. It's not really a
Oh,
biopic.
yeah.
It's like looks like it's going to be a little surreal. I don't know.
May.
Right, yeah.
May 10th.
May
Oh,
10th.
okay. So right
Alright,
before Godzilla,
So
we'll be seeing a lot of movies.
There's something else coming out in March. I can't remember though.
I know there's a lot, but like I can't think of any of it right now.
It's okay. They have the internet.
Yeah.
The podcast people will figure it out.
But
Yes,
it looks like it's going to be a
yeah.
great spring/summer of movies.
Mm-hmm.
You think Bryan Cranston's going to come back in Godzilla and actually be a part of it?
No, he's
Story?
dead.
No.
He's
Okay.
dead.
Well,
It's got
Well,
better
thanks for
things
joining
to
us
do.
for this extra long episode.
Yeah. We got through all of our questions except for one for Brian, and I'll save it for next time.
Thanks so much for your continued support on Patreon, patrons. If you want to check that out, www.patreon.com/steampoweredgiraffe. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Hope you have a wonderful day. And here's our reprise.
You want to sing it?
Yeah, sure. It's a podcast from Steam Powered Giraffe. It's the Bennettarium. We had a lot to bitch about on the Bennettarium. Oh boy, Bennettarium.
Sorry, I didn't know.
It's just been a while.
I didn't know if I was going to do the your
Whatever.
harmony or if I was going to do the melody.
It was a more laid back, less harmonic version of the theme song.
Okay. And
Y'all keep it cool in the free world, or keep on trucking.
Keep it
Keep it fresh.
funky and fresh.
Funky and fresh.